we have taken steps towards the food security within UAE.
Change today is not something we longer prepare for. It's something we live in every single day. For the success of a business, it's very important to quickly adapt to change. Hi everyone, I'm Camilla and I will be your host today. I'm associate in Ghassan Aboud Holding strategy team, and previously I bring 5 years of experience in management consulting in KPMG, where I work in Switzerland. And today with me I have Mohit Agarwal. Hi Mohit.
Hi Camilla.
Mohit is a senior vice president in the strategy team in Ghassan Aboud Holding, and today is with us for this podcast.
Thank you, Camilla. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Mohit Agarwal, Senior Vice President in the Strategy Investment Team at Ghassan Aboud Holding. I have roughly 2 decades of experience across private equity, consulting, and industry. I've had the pleasure to serve clients at BCG and McKinsey, institutional clients at Standard Private Equity, and I was fortunate to have held various CXO roles at Americana. And it's my pleasure to lead food and retail business for Ghassan Aboud Holding.
Thank you, Mohit. And in this regard, I want to ask you just a couple of questions. We always hear the sentence adapt in real time, but what does actually mean in practice?
Most of my experience has been the emerging markets, and emerging markets go through a cycle of uncertainty and volatility every 6 to 8 months. And developed market is on the other end of the spectrum. But if you look at Middle East market, it's somewhere in between. So our business model, we have adapted in such a way that any kind of volatility, uncertain scenario, we know exactly what to do. And we have done this multiple times in the past. So to answer your question, what adaptability means, adaptability means 3 things to us. One, how fast the information flows from the ground to the boardroom. Second, how fast do we make those decisions? And third is how well we implement it on the ground. So speed is of criticality in adaptability. Now, the missing part over here is how do you actually take decisions in volatile environment? And we have something called 3x3 metrics, which we follow. So one metrics is risk or associated cost, whether it's low or high. Second is the value or impact, low or high. And third is whatever decision we take, whether it's reversible or irreversible. And during this scenario, we always take decisions which are low risk, impact is really high, and which are reversible. And through our continuous monitoring progress, we track those decisions. And if it doesn't work, we reverse it. And if it works, we scale it up. So that's how we manage such scenarios.
Great. And I assume you also consider consumer behavior, because those are the key stakeholders, especially in food and retail.
Yeah.
And how do you think are evolving nowadays consumer behaviors, especially in this particular market?
Given this market and given the situation we are in right now, behaviors don't change, it just get amplified. And let me give an example. We have been talking about premiumization of customer, right? And that has been the trend across emerging markets and developed market. In Middle East, we are actually witnessing it. Consumers today, they desire quality product, premium product. Basic products don't work for them. So in this scenario, consumer tends towards a brand which provides high quality premium products more than looking for the basic products. So that's one. Second is consumers today are very conscious. They are conscious about their choices, they're conscious about their food, they reverse the packet, they look at the ingredient, and then they select the products. And in this scenario, it just gets amplified. People want the best of the best for themselves, for the kids. Health is their priority, and that is what we provide. Third is, in this scenario, consumers look for a trusted brand. And that trust comes through consistency. And we have been consistent all across in the past 7-8 years. So we have seen this consumer behavior getting amplified during this scenario.
Yeah, I can confirm that, because I see myself now at the supermarket, spending time checking all the ingredients. And while in the past I was looking for the cheapest price, buy it, and then go home. But now really, with all the information that we have available, quality of the ingredient and trust label, it's what matters the most.
Yeah.
And in light of this current regional environment, how Ghassan Aboud Holding is navigating through this complex time?
Camilla, if you look at all the decisions that we have taken in the past, right, we are constantly in investment mode. We invest for a better business, resilient business model. So I'll answer your question with respect to three spectrum. Spectrum number one, we have a resilient supply chain, right? And due to that, we did not face problems what other players are facing. We have our own in-house production facility for all the bakery items, for all the sweets, for all the food products. So as a result, we have taken steps towards the food security within UAE. We are getting all the ingredients. We are never out of stock. So resilient supply chain is the key in this scenario, right? Whether it's imported products, whether it's a local product, we have been able to serve that. And I just wanted to, through this, I just want to communicate a message to everyone that there is no need to be panic about products. We'll get all the products. You'll get your premium fruits and vegetables, and the supply will be there all throughout. That's one. Second, during this scenario, you have to be very close to your customers. You need to understand their needs. You need to see what they want. And I'll amplify this with an example. If you look at our stores, which are very which are near to community, we actually reached out to the community, and we assured them that if you don't want to step out of the house, that's completely fine. We'll deliver to doorsteps, and we are there to serve you. And you'll be surprised to know that customers love us so much. And we have been able to serve the community. We have a great relationship with them. Whenever there's an event, we are present, and sometimes we host event in our store as well. So being close to customers helps us a lot to understand their needs, their requirements, and helps us in terms of product assortment. The third thing what we have done is, if you look at during the situation, a lot of players were not able to deliver products because they didn't have any in-house delivery fleet. We at Grandiose, as I mentioned, that we continuously invest towards building a great infrastructure and making the business model resilient. We have been building our own fleet of delivery team for such a long time now, and we are reaping the benefits right now. So, we are not dependent on a lot of other infrastructure to serve our customers. We are self-reliant. That's how we are navigating these challenges right now. Going forward, what we are also planning to do is we are developing a lot of AI products. And you will be surprised to know that, in order to serve customer better, all these AI agents that we are building, they will understand the requirement better. They will help us to provide a lot of assortment and the pricing details, the planogram, everything to serve our customers better.
Thank you, Mohit. And I agree, like reliability in this particular time is what matters the most. Like for me, as a consumer, like to go into a supermarket, a place, whatever, a restaurant, a shop, and see that things didn't change despite the current environment, it also gives you a sense of safety. And that's what important the most.
Yeah.
And we talked before the importance of course, long-term planning for a business is always crucial. But how do you balance long-term strategy with the daily operation?
See, long-term strategy is in our ethos, and we have drafted a long-term strategy way back, and we don't deviate from it. And I will tell you this with an example. One of my favorite sports person is Michael Phelps, and if you read about his persona, about his process, he practices every day, right? Be it holidays, be it Eid, be it Christmas, he doesn't take a break. And he doesn't focus on the outcome, he's focusing more on the process. And during that process, he gets a lot of results. That's exactly what we are at Ghassan Abud Group. While we have some intention or long-term strategy in a place where we want to reach, we don't think about it a lot. We know strategy is all about giving a direction, so we know which direction we want to head to. It's about everyday grind. It's about everyday process. The boring thing is what makes you very different, right? We follow the process, we keep on refining it, We train people day in, day out. And, our focus is customer centricity. That is our, at the core nucleus of our purpose. So whatever our customer expectation is, be it premium products, quality products, at a price at which they want to buy, near to them, building out the entire infrastructure to deliver products at their doorsteps, great service or experience for them, not only for them, for the entire family. And when I say family, I'm not talking about only the family members. I'm talking also about the pets which they have. It's the entire community experience. So we do it day in, day out. That's how we keep focusing on the process. We don't think about a long term much. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And yes, strategy is action, but also strategy is people. And in this context, how important is the human capital to bring the strategy to life and to be able to adapt to change?
See, drafting a strategy is very simple, right? In a AC room, in the board meeting, you can present a strategy, you can devise a strategy. But the real challenge is, from the boardroom, how do you implement it on the ground? And it's all about three things: people, process, and technology. At Grandiose or at Ghassanabad Group, we are all people. That's the first, right? We are as good as an organization as our people are. We are as capable as an organization as our people are. So people comes first. So if you look at our policies, the way we act, and we always say that we act for our internal stakeholders, so that internal stakeholders can take care of external stakeholders. Internal stakeholders be us employees, and external stakeholders being customers. So we take care of all the internal stakeholders so that they can take care of external stakeholders. Process is something which is required to scale. So as I mentioned, that our ability to scale is as robust as our processes are. So if you don't have the right process in place, it will become extremely difficult to scale. And third is technology. Technology is needed not only to scale, but also to drive impact and monitor. And that is something which helps us to keep us to the ground, to keep changing if any changes are required, to manage periods of volatility. So I would say that people, process, and technology are three front runners at Ghassanabad Group to manage such situations.
Absolutely, and I can confirm that, being part also of the same team. And let's talk about you a bit more. So you have 17 years of experience. What's the key leadership lessons that you apply in your day-to-day role and helps you also managing through these difficult times?
I would say that, different people define leadership differently. For me personally, I think leadership is all about 5 attributes. Attribution number 1 is ownership. A leader has to take entire responsibility, right? He is responsible 100% and he has to drive things. So I think that ownership mindset is really critical. And even in this scenario, the way I lead is that I will take ownership, but my team also takes full ownership, right? And I'm very lucky to have a great team which helps me to drive impact. So that's ownership. Second is, I think, empowerment. While there are a lot of things which I can look at, I can drive, but unless until I empower my team, I will not see significant scaled up impact. And that is what I think most leaders, miss in my view. Leaders like to take control of it. They are very much centralized in terms of thought process. But I think we are in an environment where decentralization is the way to go. And decentralized leadership is something which is scalable as well. Third thing in my view is about following the process. Sometimes leaders, and I've been part of it, sometimes when you're a leader, you think that, okay, I should not follow things and I should not follow this, I'm devising this. But at the end, you realize that the more you become a follower, your ability to lead increases. Mm-hmm. So to be a leader, you have to first be a great follower. So if you follow the process, you follow the routine, you will realize that you will be a great leader. Fourth, I think be obsessive about customers. customer obsession is something which, which is in the DNA, like in the retail business, the food business, unless until you are obsessively mad about customer requirements and need, I think it becomes very difficult to be successful. And the fifth thing is the most important. If you don't have this, the first four variable goes out of the window, and this is integrity and trust. As a leader, you have to you have to behave with highest level of integrity and create trust in your team, and enable team to trust you. I think these are the 5 leadership principles. I would give it to anyone.
Thank you. Very inspiring. But mostly on a personal level, aside of work, what helped you to stay grounded in this such dynamic environment?
I have been a follower of teachings of Bhagavad Gita. It's a book which my father gifted me, and I've been reading that book a lot. So in that book, it's written that whatever you achieve or whatever you don't achieve, you don't need to attach yourself to the outcome. And whatever you do, you have to detach yourself, right? And that is something which a lot of people, across the world also follow. And I'm a big believer of reading all successful people, and they're not affected by success. They're not affected by failure because they don't attach themselves with success and failure, right? And that is something has been the biggest learning for me from the book and the way my father conducts himself. So for me, if I don't attach myself, attach my value and attach my attribute towards the outcome, whether success or failure, I am always grounded. The failure will not impact me significantly adversely, so that I go into a rut and say, oh my God, this has happened to me. And on the other hand, if I become really successful, success will also not never get into my mind and say that, oh my God, you have become so successful in life. So I think if you detach yourself, you'll always be grounded.
So you do something not for like the expectation of the outcome, but just because you want to do that. So independently how it goes, you were like true to yourself. So
yes, so I'm not attaching my emotions with the outcome. So that is the biggest learning for me, because the moment you attach your emotion to the outcome is not in your hand, right? It is always out of control. You can expect something, you can estimate something, you can project something, but it is not necessary that it will always come in your way. So for you to pick up and run again, it's very important that you do not attach yourself with the outcome. Otherwise, you will go into a spiral thought process and emotional process that, if you have become successful, then, you will be above all and, no one is beneath you. And if you become failure, then everyone is above you and, you are beneath everyone. So that is a feeling which, I think one should avoid.
Amazing. Thank you, Mohit.
Thank you so much, Camilla.
It was a very great conversation with you. And thank you, listeners. So today we learned that adaptability to change is the key for a success of the long term for certain business, and especially in the food retail sector. We thank you for listening to us today in this episode of Ghassan Aboud Holding podcast, and we wait for you in the next one.